route?
By car, by air, by car, a couple of days.
Huh?
Mido just sat across from a producer and said the words, Debby probably hoped she'd never hear this season, that he's not sure he even wants to stay in America anymore. No context yet, no explanation, just that. Okay, so if that opening line made your stomach drop a little, good, because that's exactly where this episode wants you, and that's exactly where we're starting today. This is 12 times 10, I'm questioning everything. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand the pillow wall these two reportedly built between them at night, the phone that either got thrown or dropped depending on who you ask, the Reddit thread that's already comparing this couple to a pairing from a past season, and the exact moment Mido says the quiet part out loud. We've also got Ashia's family finding out something they clearly were not prepared for, and Marissa getting squeezed from every direction by people who are supposed to be in her corner. So let's get into it. Let's rewind, though, because you need the receipts before we get to the confession. Mido did not get to Louisiana and quietly settled in. Within days of landing in the U.S., he was already talking about Hollywood. Not settling down with Debby in her town, not building a life where she actually lives. Hollywood. He reportedly told her, almost as an early signal, that he has more dreams than this, that he's not coming here just to play house. And look, ambition isn't a crime. Wanting more for your life isn't a red flag by itself. But when you say that to your partner in the first few days of moving to her country for her, the framing matters. That's not, I want us to build something big together. That's, don't get too comfortable because I might not stay put. Debby heard that, and I don't think she's forgotten it, even if the show wants us to. Then there's the physical side of things, which honestly set the tone for this entire relationship before the suitcases were even unpacked. Mido's been clear from early on about his religious stance. No intimacy before marriage, full stop, and that's a completely valid boundary to hold, genuinely. But the way he reportedly talked about their first night together is where this stops being about faith and starts being about something colder. Debby, by most accounts, put in effort, got dressed up, tried to set a tone for the two of them as a couple starting this chapter. And Mido's reported confessional response was that she was not attracted to her at all. Not that he was holding a boundary, not that he appreciated the effort even if intimacy wasn't happening. Just a flat, dismissive read on her appearance, on camera, for millions of people to hear. If that's an accurate reflection of what he said, that's not a man protecting his values. That's a man who couldn't even manage basic kindness in a moment his partner was clearly nervous about. And then, the pillow wall. You guys know I love a good pillow wall because it tells you everything about a relationship without either person having to say a word. Reportedly, Debby and Mido built one between them in bed, a literal barrier, night after night. Now, if this were purely about religious boundaries around intimacy, fine, that's their business. But a pillow wall isn't just, we're not being intimate. A pillow wall is, I don't want to be near you. That's a different thing entirely, and I think Debby knows the difference, even if she hasn't said it plainly on camera yet. Okay, quick rehook, because we are just getting started. We haven't even gotten to the phone fight yet. We haven't touched the Reddit thread that's got this entire couple compared to a past season pairing. And we definitely have not gotten to the moment Mido finally says he's questioning whether he wants to stay in this country at all. That's coming. Stay with me. Let's talk about the phone, because this is where accounts start splitting in two directions. And I want to be fair to both sides here instead of picking a winner, because honestly, nobody outside that room actually knows what happened. During an argument, a phone ended up moving from Debby's hand toward Mido. His version, she threw it directly at him. Her version, it landed on his lap. Those are two very different pictures. One is a targeted, aggressive throw, the other is an object dropped or tossed in frustration that happened to land near him. I wasn't there. You weren't there. And frankly, the editors weren't required to show us the actual physics of it. So we're working with two competing narratives, and neither one gets to be treated as fact just because it's louder. What we do have, though, is Mido's reported reaction to it. That if a partner did something like that to him back home in Egypt, he would leave immediately. No second chances, no working through it. And here's where I want you to sit with the whole picture for a second, because that line hits differently depending on which version of the phone incident you believe. If she genuinely threw it at him, sure, that's a serious reaction to a serious moment. But if it landed on his lap during a heated argument, and his response is, "I would leave immediately," that's a pretty rigid, pretty absolute standard to hold, especially from someone who, just weeks earlier, was reportedly dismissing his partner's appearance on their wedding night and building a pillow wall between them. I'm not saying he's wrong to have boundaries. I'm saying it's interesting which behaviors get an instant deal-breaker label and which ones get a pass. And this is exactly why Reddit did what Reddit does best: pattern recognition. A thread's been making the rounds, reportedly titled something like Debby and Mido, another Debby and Oussama all over again. And if you've been watching this franchise long enough, you felt that comparison the second you read it. Older American woman, younger partner, who seems way more excited about the opportunity than about her specifically, the dream-chasing energy, the emotional distance dressed up as culture shock. Fans aren't pulling this comparison out of nowhere. They've watched this exact shape before, on this exact show, and it did not end well for the woman in that pairing. So when they see Debby heading down a road that looks identical, it's not cruelty, it's concern. Concern that she might be the one who has to relearn a lesson this franchise already taught once. All right, quick pause on Mido and Debby, because the episode doesn't let them sit in the spotlight the whole time, and honestly, the side beats this week are wild in their own right. Ashia's family sat down for the family meeting and found out, in real time, that Ashia is 38. A full decade older than Maxwell. And look, age gaps exist. They're not inherently a red flag, but the way this landed on camera, with the family visibly recalibrating in real time, tells you they weren't given that number ahead of time. On top of that, we've got the detail that Maxwell reportedly proposed with a ring sitting on a plate of ketchup, which, I'm sorry, I need someone to explain the symbolism there because I have theories and none of them are good. And then there's Ashia herself, who is reportedly training to become a Pentecostal prophetess and credits God directly for bringing this relationship together. That's a lot of moving parts for one family dinner, and the show knows exactly what it's doing, stacking all of it into a single scene. And then there's Marissa, who is having what looks like one of the harder seasons emotionally out of anyone in this cast right now. She's reportedly getting pressure from two completely different directions, her ex-husband on one side and her own parents, described as upper crust, on the other, both apparently weighing in on whether Edward is the right move for her future. That's an exhausting position to be in, being questioned by the people who are supposed to already be behind you, while also trying to figure out your own relationship in real time on national television. I'll be honest, out of everyone in this episode, she's the one I feel for the most, because at least Debby and Mido are having their conflict directly with each other. Marissa's getting pulled in two directions before she's even gotten to the actual relationship part. Okay, rehook, because we are circling back to where we started, and this is the part you've been waiting for. Remember that cold open? Mido, sitting there, telling producers he's not sure he wants to stay in America. We finally get the context. So here's how it plays out. After everything, the Hollywood talk within days of landing, the dismissive comments about their first night, the pillow wall, the phone incident, and his hardline reaction to it, Mido sits down and says it plainly. He's questioning everything, not just the relationship, the country, the whole decision. And I want you to actually sit with that phrasing for a second, because I'm questioning whether I want to stay in America is not the same sentence as I'm questioning whether this relationship is working. One of those is about Debby. The other is about the visa, the opportunity, the bigger dream he told her about within days of arriving. Maybe it's genuinely both. Maybe the culture shock is real, the homesickness is real, and Debby is caught in the middle of a much bigger identity crisis that has nothing to do with her specifically. That's a completely fair read, and I don't think we should throw it out. But it's also worth asking, out loud, whether questioning America was always going to be the fallback line the second the relationship stopped being easy. Because if the dream was the goal from day one, the relationship was always going to be negotiable the moment it got hard. So where does that leave Debby? Honestly, in a spot I don't think anyone would want to be in. she's watched, or at the very least heard about, almost this exact storyline play out before on this franchise. And now she's the one living a version of it in real time, on camera, with the whole internet already drawing the comparison before she's even had a chance to process it herself. That's a rough position to be in. So here's my hot take, and I want you to actually push back on me in the comments if you disagree, because I know some of you will. I don't think Mido is a cartoon villain here, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend his homesickness or culture shock isn't real, because it probably is. But I do think the timeline doesn't lie. The Hollywood talk came before the hard moments came, not after, and that ordering matters. When someone tells you their dream is bigger than the relationship before the relationship has even really started, believe them the first time. So tell me, is Mido genuinely struggling with a massive life adjustment? Or was this always about the bigger opportunity and Debby just happened to be the way in? Drop your verdict in the comments and let me know if your Team Debby deserves better or Team Give Him Grace. Next video, we're breaking down Katie's birthday party fallout because there's an angle on that story nobody's covered yet, involving what a licensed expert actually had to say about her explanation. And it's a lot more serious than the headlines are making it sound. If you're new here, hit subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll see you in the next one.